All right, good morning, agents. This is Kevin Lauren. I'm the Director of Training and Marketing. And today we are going to be going over natural hazard disasters. And we're going to be joined by Lina King, who will be joining us just in a moment here. We're going to have Debbie Ciccone and Bill Theis join us first. Let me bring Bill on the line first. Bill, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Kevin. Good morning, Alta agents, and happy Valentine's Day.
Absolutely. Happy Valentine's Day to all. Hope you guys have a little time this evening with your significant other, and hope everybody has a great day.
Yes, sir. How are we doing today, Kevin?
We are doing fantastic. I'm broadcasting live from the lovely country of Nicaragua. I'm down here with my whole family for my 50th birthday, so we're having a great time down here, Bill.
I thought you turned 51.
You 58. Bill and I have a running joke. He and I are a couple months apart, and I'm much older since I was born in February. He was born in May, so he always gives me crap every time it's
what are friends for, right, Kev?
Exactly, buddy.
Anyways, that's good. Glad you're having a good time. Beautiful country, and its technology is amazing. We can do webinars anywhere.
No doubt. No, very, very cool. So let's bring on Debbie Ciccone, and Debbie's going to give us a little update on what's happening out there in mortgage land. Debbie, good morning. And
good morning, everyone. So you know what? It's so funny how the media we always hear, oh, rates are coming down. And when the rates go up, we see it because, we get alerts throughout the whole day that rates are up, they revised up, or rates are down, they revised down. So we get those alerts all day, every day. But I just want to let everyone know that we really do have the best rates. I don't always check other lenders all the time, but I'm pretty confident in most cases that we have better rates than someone who wants to go directly to their bank at B of A or Wells Fargo or Chase. And so this happened yesterday that a new buyer, they I had quoted them a rate. She had a pretty low credit score, 631. And so I told her the rate was going to be 7.625%, and it was going to have a little cost to it because of the credit score. And they ended up going to Wells Fargo and had their credit run. I don't think she said they didn't provide all their documentation and all of that. But she said, well, their rate is 7.25. And I go, oh, okay. Well, how much are they charging for that 7.25? And so she sent me the loan estimate that they gave her. They were charging her $9,000. I said, I can get you 7.25 for $7,000. Just let me know.
wow.
So, you know what? It's so funny how I hear a lot that banks will be quoting lower rates, but they don't, and they seriously neglect to tell your clients that there's going to be a charge associated with that interest rate. And they really think they're getting a great deal. They don't really notice it a lot on the loan estimate because some people aren't, keeping an eye on those kind of things. But anyway, so I want to share really, really quick just what rates are out there. So I priced a few loans, $1.2 million purchase price, $840,000 loan amount, good credit score, 780. So 30% down. So this makes it in some counties a high balance loan. Like Riverside County, San Bernardino County, those counties don't have high balance. They go right from a 766,551 loan amount on up, and it's jumbo. So we have to make sure about counties and the county that you're in and the loan limits. If you ever need to know, please give me a call and I'll let you know what the loan limit is in your county. But I'm talking about a high balance county, Orange County, LA County, San Diego County. The interest rate, and this, by the way, these are no origination points. No origination points. If you don't know what origination points are, it's the cost for the rate. So a 0 origination point interest rate for a high balance owner occupied is 6.99%. That is for high balance. That's for loan amounts in like Orange County that exceed $766,550. So for a non-owner, which means it's a rental property. And by the way, the 6.99%, if somebody wanted to pay origination points, they can buy the rate down. Okay. But for a non-owner purchase, the interest rate is 7.625%, 0 origination points. So again, anybody can buy the rate down by paying a little bit extra to get a little bit better interest rate. A conforming loan amount, any loan amount in most counties below the 766,550, and again, we need to check your county loan limit, is priced out today at 6.5% for 0 points. And if it was an investment purchase or a second home purchase, the interest rate for 0 points would be 6.99%. FHA and VA were hovering over 6.25%, 0 points. So you know what this tells me, because last week, or actually the week before, rates were for FHA and VA, I could get 5 points of 5.99 or 5, I could get into the 5s with 0 points. So rates kind of went up a little bit, but again, we're still at the beginning of the year. I think overall rates are going to continue having their moments through this year where they're going to come down a little bit. And then that, I talked about that low credit score. The rate was 7.625% with a little bit of a cost. I think it was going to cost $4,600. And I think I have another lender that will do 8 1/8 for no points, but who wants that rate, right? Anyway, if you want an update on rates could revise 2 or 3 times a day. Yesterday it revised twice. So, if you want an update on rates, shoot me a text or an email and I'll get you rates. Also, if you need flyers for your open houses, let me know. Give me at least a day or 2 notice, and I will shoot you over some flyers for your open house, even with some financing options. And I hope you guys have a wonderful, awesome week. It's so busy out there. It's getting really busy. And here's a tip for you. When you're listing a home, I don't know if you guys do this, but if you go to neighbors on either side and across the street and give them a flyer and say, hey, I'm going to have an open house at this house across the street today. If you have any friends that are interested, come on by. And you'd be surprised at how many people might say, you know what, I'm going to be listing my home soon, or I'm going to be interested in selling soon. So don't discount the neighbors around the home that you're going to be doing an open house on. Even if it's not your listing, if you're doing the open house, you can still talk to all the neighbors on all sides and maybe even get a listing. But anyway, you have a wonderful week and let's do it.
Come on, Debbie. That is such a great tip, and every agent should be doing it. So I really appreciate that you brought that to everybody's attention. It's low-hanging fruit, guys. It's you can absolutely do well. So all right. Oops, my internet connection just got a little shaky. All right, I'm back. So Bill, anything to add there?
No, it's just good information. Most people don't understand how fluid the market is with interest rates. So what Debbie's talking about is 100% accurate, is that the rates are literally changing and moving 2, 3, 4 times a day, depending on what the actual overall market's doing, especially the 10-year treasury. And so it's always a very fluid environment, and what the rates could be right now at 9, 10, could be very different by noon. So it's just kind of the world we work in and live in. But that was a very good overview from Debbie of what's going on as a snapshot in finance right now.
That is for sure. And I'm going to make one more guest panel on second. Okay. I think I did that right. Okay, perfect. Promoting to panelist. All right, great. And so now we are going to be joined by Lina King from My NHD. And Lina, good morning. How are you today? And you'll just have to unmute yourself for us.
Okay, good morning. I had to unmute myself there. I'm great. How is everyone?
And we're fantastic, Lina. It's a great Wednesday. Happy Valentine's Day to you.
Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day and Galentines and Palentines to all our guys and our gals and our pals as well. Okay.
Look.
I think I'm having trouble hearing. Oh, there you are.
So I did, let's see, I think, yeah. My internet connection is slightly spotty today, but should be okay.
We'll work it out.
And so Lina King, her company is My NHD. And so, her company is My NHD. And so why don't you tell us a little bit about your company?
Absolutely. My NHD, we are your natural hazard disclosure provider. And I'm here with my VP, Deneen Richards, Dee Dee, we call her Dee Dee. And we're going to show you how to navigate through these fire disclosures. It's gotten a little bit tricky. Has anyone ever gotten caught in that situation where someone wants to pull out of escrow because they're in a fire zone? They don't want to pay for that fire insurance, or they can't get fire insurance. Well, we're going to arm you with a tool that's going to empower you and let you know before you order an NHD report, before you go to a listing appointment, before you show clients a home, whether or not they're in a fire zone or a flood zone. It's 2024. We no longer have to wait for someone to fall out of escrow at the end of a transaction. Let's get ahead of the game, and full disclosure means no surprises. And My NHD, we have been vetted by CAR. We are #1 on your drop-down box, and we have never had to use our E&O insurance for any lawsuits ever. And I can't say that for my competitors. So we're untouchable that way. So we do provide the best protection. And I guess I can put it over to Dee Dee. I did post on your Facebook page the directions on how to download our Tile. It's a web-based app, but you need to have this device on your phone, and you will have this information at your fingertips, and you'll be able to, and it comes with a beautiful aerial map as well. And if the fire zone's in red, you'll be able to see very well to depict where the fire zone is or where the flood zone is. And as we get into our presentation, you will see that, and you will rush to download this on your phone and all your devices.
Good morning. You want me to take it away, Lina?
Sure, Dee Dee, take it away.
Awesome. Okay. Good morning, everybody, all you wonderful Alta agents, and Kevin and Bill. Thanks so much for having us here today. What we're going to talk about, I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to run. I'm sorry.
There we are.
I'm going to run through.
Yeah, go ahead, Dee Dee. And I was just going to say,
Oh, I'm sorry, Kevin. The internet is really spotty. We're having a hard time hearing you. Nicaragua is fun for this PowerPoint.
Yeah. So go ahead, take it away, Dee Dee. We can see your screen and it looks great.
Thanks so much. Okay, so as Lina said, the wildfire issue has become the biggest disclosure issue in the state of California, and that's probably going to continue for quite some time until we can get our, well, maybe not ever, but we've got to get insurance back up and running, and we've got to get people comfortable, buyers and sellers and agents comfortable with really the process that you need to go through to make sure you are encompassing fully wildfire disclosure. And like Lina said, full disclosure means no surprises. So we're going to give you the puzzle pieces and put them together for you so that you can easily navigate wildfire disclosure requirements wherever you are. So the very first step we're going to go through is myhascheck.com. And Lina, I don't know if the flyers got out to all of the agents, but hopefully if you don't have them already, agents, then you will have it soon. And it's really just a description of how to upload myhascheck.com to your phone and how to check flood and fire zones. We're going to go over that in just a minute. Then your next puzzle piece is the MyNHD report, then your defensible space inspection if you're in an AB 38 zone, and then the new Fortress Fire wildfire disclosure report. I'm sure if you have heard about that, you can put any comments, questions into the chat. We'll answer those too. But the wildfire disclosure report from Fortress Fire is really throwing people for a loop. And we're going to explain that to you when you need it and explain to you how to get it and a little bit about what it is. So again, that first puzzle piece is myhascheck.com, and it's free. We're going to tell you what's required, what's not required. Obviously, myhascheck.com, it's a website. You can, if you pull it up on your phone, you can download a tile to your phone, so you have instant access to it all the time. You do have to sign up if you don't currently have a MyNHD account, but that just takes a few seconds, not a big deal. So what we want you to do is, if you can right now, get out your phones and go to myhascheck.com and enter your login and password if you have one. If not, sign up very quickly. And what you're going to see after that, after you sign up, is this page right here. You're going to be able to check FEMA flood zones and fire zones, whether they are AB 38 state zones, whether they are county zones or city zones. You're going to see it all. You're going to see everything. You actually see local flood zones on the flood check as well. So what you can do with this is, before you go to a listing appointment, you can, it's part of your due diligence and gathering all of your information, check out both of these. See if someone's in a flood zone or a fire zone, so you can more intelligently go into that listing appointment and tell them more about their property than maybe even they know. And here's the thing. Over 40% of the properties in the United States, probably more in California, have no mortgage. So let's say you haven't had a mortgage for 10 years. There's no lender keeping you up to date on saying, hey, you're in a new fire zone, or we need to get additional fire insurance. We need to, oh, you just were put into a flood zone. We need flood insurance on your property now. We've had clients where this has happened to them. We've had agents call us and say, wait a minute, my clients all of a sudden called me and said, I'm in a flood zone. They've never been in a flood zone. They want to sell their property. What is going on? Well, and especially when people don't have a mortgage with a lender helping them along and giving them guidelines on the type of insurance that they need, they won't necessarily know until they go to sell their property. So it's a really great way for you to shine at your listing presentation. Let them know if they're in a flood zone, do they currently have flood insurance, and how much is it, so that information can be detailed to the potential buyers. And then also, if they're in an AB 38 zone, we're going to tell you that. So you can ask them, you're in an AB 38 fire zone. Have you had your annual defensible space inspection? And do you have copies of that? That is huge. You won't know that until after you get the listing. But doing this before really makes you stand out. And it's free. You can use it as many times as you like. Also, if you have a buyer that's really demanding, doesn't want to be in a flood zone, or maybe doesn't want to be in a fire zone, you can send this out to them. You can send this website to them, have them download it on their phone. And you can say, hey, as you're driving around, you see a house that you like, you can simply put in the email or the address here, and then you can see if it's in a flood or fire zone. Let me know which ones you approve of, which properties you approve of, after you've checked this to make sure it suits your requirements. Save you a ton of time. Okay, so that's piece number one. It's really, really important for you to do. in knowing whether or not you need to walk down this road of fire disclosure. So number two, once you get that listing, and this is required, we all know, you need to get a MyNHD report. We need to get an NHD report, preferably for MyNHD. But the MyNHD report is so easy to use for this. It's going to give you this wonderful AB 38 notice if you're in an AB 38 zone. And it'll give you this wonderful little link here. All you do is click on it, and it'll take you to the CAL FIRE webpage to order that defensible space inspection. Now, here's something on timing, guys. I know I used to live in Northern California, and it was in real estate in Northern California. And up there, for the most part, we get all of our disclosures and everything up front. So we know everything about the property walking into it before we even put it on the market. In Southern California, it usually happens, or often happens, after a property goes into contract. That is really challenging when you're in AB 38 zone, because there is so much that needs to be done, and time is of the essence. So as soon as you take that listing, as soon as you get it signed, we want you to get your MyNHD report ordered immediately. Go on for your sellers, or have your sellers go on here, put in their information. It's very simple form. It'll walk you through every single every single question. Super, super easy. Get that defensible space inspection scheduled right away, and even hopefully before you put it on the market, even get on the calendar, get it in there. And if there's any work that needs to be done, of course, that's going to take some extra time to get your clearance. So make sure that you're jumping on this right away. We had a client, I want to say it was about 6 months ago, who did not get her MyNHD report up front, and she put a house on the market and got into contract. It was a 10-day close, all cash, and they didn't have the reports. So reports came in, you're in an AB 38 zone, you need to do your defensible space inspection, the seller was unaware, and it just took so much time. That buyer ended up going elsewhere and bought another house. We don't want to lose buyers because we're not prepared. So this is super, super important to get your MyNHD report as soon as you take a listing. The next step is, as I mentioned, ordering your defensible space inspection via that link that we just showed. This is required too if you're in an AB 38 zone. This is what a defensible space inspection and clearance looks like. This is on the property for our COO, Scott Rockline. So he has someone come out every single year on the dot, and they give him this, they write it up, and they give him this to keep. He has years worth of these, and hopefully if your seller is in an AB 38 zone, they have their local inspections or their defensible space inspections as well. It also may be that you're not just, the property's not just in a state level AB 38 zone, but it could be in a county or city level zone that also has brush requirements or defensible space requirements. And on that CAL FIRE website, when you click this link and you fill out the form, this is why sometimes it's nice to do it with your sellers or to do it on behalf of them, so that you have all the information. It will tell you at the bottom of that form if you have any county or city level requirements that might need to be dealt with, and it'll give you the contact information for that city and county to contact to get those inspections done. If any of you are practicing in LA Fire Department, and you can go online, and I can send Lina the information afterwards to forward to Kevin. They have annual inspections. If the work is not completed, or they say you need to clear this brush, down this tree, whatever the case may be, they will start fining you. If it's not done, I believe in 30 days, they're going to fine you again. If it's not done after that, the fines really go up to thousands of dollars. It's a big deal. So if you are in LA, you need to make sure that you're really jumping on the LA Fire Department website, getting all of that handled. I've been dealing with a lot of that over the last few days with escrow officers and agents just not knowing what to do and being flat-footed. It's new this year. All the fines are new. So we want to make sure that you guys are not getting flat-footed on that too. So this is something, again, you can see now. We want you to get this at listing, not when you get into a transaction, because if you get a quick close, an all cash quick close, you might not be able to do it. You have to pass all of the responsibilities onto the buyer. If the buyer doesn't accept that, then your deal might fall through. It's just not worth it, guys. Let's get this done ahead of time. Okay, so those are all things that are required. The MineHG report and your defensible space inspection from CAL FIRE are required if you're in an AB 38 zone. Now here's the new one. This is the wildfire disclosure report by Fortress Fire. This is not required and it's causing a lot of confusion. It does add another layer of information about what's going on with your property as far as trees and shrub and other buildings on your property for wildfire danger. And if you have a client that really wants that, great. You can write it into your contract if your buyer is interested in that, or write it into your offer. There are other companies out there that either say we will not have this in our transaction, or some brokerages that say we have to have this in our transaction. So before you write that offer, you might just want to call the listing agent and say, hey, are you guys dealing with the wildfire disclosure report at all from Fortress Fire? Should I write that into my contract? My buyer really wants that. If they say absolutely, our broker says we cannot do it, we're going to cancel it out. Don't put it in there. If your buyer wants to order it for themselves, order it for themselves, but we're not accepting that. Then you know how to write your contract. And if your buyer wants it, they can certainly order it independently if the listing agent says they don't want it to be part of their contract and they cancel it out. Okay, so what this does, here's a little picture of one of the pages in there, and you can see this is zone 0, this is zone 1, this is zone 2, and this is zone 3. And it'll show you all the different trees and shrubs on the property that the program, this is an AI algorithm, that the program deems are potentially harmful. And there's some work that needs to be done to these to make that property more defensible. So for this one, it almost looks like it's touching the roof line right there. These are very close to the house. That's very close to the house. This is a huge tree. It looks like it's almost touching the roof line there too. So you can see that there are some things that could potentially use some remediation to keep the property more safe from wildfire. But again, this is not required. CAL FIRE does not go by these rules, does not use this report. CAL FIRE and your insurance companies will have their own metrics by which they measure defensible space. So make sure that if you are working with a seller and they are looking at doing some work on this property to reduce their risk score, then, and I'll get to the risk score in just a minute, then they check with their insurance company first to make sure that their insurance company will actually give them a discount for the things that, for the work that they're doing. So a little bit more on the report. The report combines different wildfire data than is given in your NHD report. So by law, by Civil Code 1103.2, NHD companies have to disclose state level wildfire and very high fire hazard severity zones. That's it. And that's what we do. That's what all of us do. And then we dig into, MineHD protects you even better because we dig into local, county, and city level fire zones as well. Many NHD companies do not. They simply mimic what is in, they call them local, but they mimic what is on the state level maps. And so you have to be very, 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 very careful about that. Using a MineHD report, you know, you're always going to get accurate city and county level data and maps and disclosures. Not so much so with many of the other companies out there. So just a little tip on that. So this Fortress Fire uses CAL FIRE maps, which we do as well. Those are the AB 38 maps. And then they also use Forest Service maps, and they also use the CAPUC maps, which are two different layers that we don't dig into. So you're going to see more danger on a property than just from your MineHD report. And then what it does too is it offers recommendations on how you can mitigate your risk. So I'm going to go forward to the next slide and show you what this risk score looks like. So hopefully you're like this property and you're somewhere in this lower range, but most of the properties we see are kind of over here in this 300 to 400 plus range. This is darn good. That's something to brag about. If I was a seller and had this kind of a score on my property, then I'd be putting that in my disclosure package and I'd be like, woohoo, look, my house is so great and it doesn't have much fire danger on it. That's awesome. But if you're here, you might want to do a little bit of mitigation to reduce that score. But this is something that we want you to keep in mind. And you can read here, it's important that you talk to your manager or broker before ordering this report, because especially if you're on the listing side, it can potentially cause some issues for you in the transaction. So if a buyer, let's say your score was 450, and a buyer said, no way am I buying this house with a 450 score. I want you to do all this mitigation work before we close escrow, and that'll give me discounts on my insurance. And the seller does, $30,000 worth of work, and the insurance carrier actually doesn't get discounts for risk mitigation like this. Because as I mentioned before, every insurance company has their own risk models. They have their own mapping. They go by their rules, not anybody else's rules. Currently, right now in the state of California, only Mercury Insurance and the California Fair Plan are offering discounts for fire mitigation. So it's important that you'll hear some NHG companies or Fortress Fire saying, take this report to your insurance company. Do not take this report to your insurance company. It's akin to sending your home report, your home inspection report to your lender, to your underwriter. They're going to go, oh, wait a minute, the roof doesn't look so great. I want you to replace that. And your siding is bogus. It's got some dents in there and your deck is falling apart. We're not lending on this house. You got to get these things fixed first. So no, we don't want to pass this on to an insurance company. Talk with your insurance company first and ask what discounts they offer for fire mitigation. What exactly you have to do to make sure that you can qualify for those discounts. And if it's worth it, then do some work if you and your seller feel that's necessary. But again, this report is going to become a material fact in your transaction. So if your seller comes up with a score that's over here, very high, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. You have to disclose it to all of your potential buyers. That's why we want you to talk to your broker. We want you to talk to your legal counsel before you make this a part of your transaction, so it doesn't disturb it. It's a wonderful report in certain circumstances, and it's great to know what the fire danger is on your property and how to mitigate it. But be careful when you are using it, because it is so new and most agents aren't terribly familiar with it yet. They haven't had a lot of interaction with it yet. It does sell. We sell an awful lot of them, and you can buy it from us independently. So you can buy your MyNHG report, but let's say your buyer just wants to order a Fortress Fire report to see what's going on in the property that they want to make an offer on. You can do that independently on our website. All of the other NHG companies, I believe, this was as of about a month ago, every other disclosure company makes you buy their NHG report before you can buy the Fortress Fire report. We don't do that. You can order it independently, which saves you some money. I don't know if we're getting any questions on any of those because I'm not in the chat, but we can check afterwards. So,
Dee Dee, this is Bill.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
This is Bill. What does this cost as a standalone?
I'm on that page right now. It's $140. And all you have to do is go to the MyNHG site, and you just click here. This is our landing page. All you have to do is click on this little button. It'll ask you a couple of questions. Of course, your normal, what's the APN address, that sort of thing. It's also going to ask you if you know the roofing material and the siding material. If you don't, that's okay. You can still proceed with ordering the report. It's just going to lower your score a little bit if you have like a tile roof versus a shake roof, right? Or if you have cement fiberboard siding versus wood siding. Obviously, that's going to lower your score a little bit. So if you have that information, great. If you don't, that's okay too. Now, the other thing to be mindful of too is, again, this is new and Fortress Fire is kind of feeling their way through it as well. Their cancellation policy is different than MyNHG's policy. If you ordered a report by mistake, we value you and we value our relationship with you so much. If you said, hey, Lina, I mistakenly ordered this report. I thought it was going to be okay. And my sellers or buyers just aren't okay with it. I need to cancel it. I'm so sorry. And then Lena says, no problem, we'll cancel it for you. You're not obligated to that. And of course, if it doesn't close, if you don't have to pay for it, that's our policy. So you can, our policy is, fairly liberal. If you use our report, we need you to pay for it. But if it's ordered by mistake or somebody countered it out of a transaction, then that's okay. We're not going to make you pay for it. The Fortress Fire Wildfire Disclosure Report is a little bit different. So if you pay by credit card, it can't be refunded. You can pay ahead of time by credit card. So let's say your buyer says, you know what, Bill, I really want this property. We're ready to make an offer on it, but I need to know what this report says first before we do that. They can go online, pay $140 in credit card, and get all the information they need on that property for wildfires. And if you are in an escrow, if it's ordered for an escrow, then you don't have to pay for it if the escrow doesn't close, but if escrow closes, they're going to come after you for payment. So make sure that, again, you're ordering it when it's necessary and staying away from it when it's not necessary, so no one's on the hook for that $140. We've had some upset clients about that, and it's not fun when someone has to fork out some money for something that they didn't think they needed or they thought they could just cancel. And that's it. So we made navigating wildfire disclosures super easy with our puzzle pieces. First one is visit myhazcheck.com. Look at those flood and fire zones. See if you're in any of those zones, or you're in a AB 38 zone before you order the wildfire disclosure report. Make sure that you're ordering your MyNHG report at listing. So you jump on all of that information and you look and start getting your defensible space inspection, your city and county inspections if they're necessary. If you're in any of those zones that require certifications, clearances, then you schedule your defensible space inspection with CAL FIRE. Another tip from CAL FIRE, we work very, very closely with CAL FIRE. We have for years. They're our go-to, and we get our information straight from the source, and we're kind of their go-to as well. They ask us a lot of questions about different fire mapping and that kind of thing in other areas. So it's a wonderful relationship we have with them. And they gave us a tip that if your inspector is out there on your property, we do recommend that either the seller, and preferably the agent too, is out on the property when the defensible space inspection happens. So you hear firsthand what they're recommending and what the requirements are. If it passes, obviously no issue. But if there's more work that needs to be done, then discuss with your seller how long it's going to take to make that happen. Hopefully only about a week or two. Hire a handyman or whoever to get the work done. And then schedule right then and there for CAL FIRE to come back for the re-inspection. Because there are not dedicated CAL FIRE firefighters just to go out and do inspections. They are firefighters. And if they're busy, these inspections could take a much longer time. So again, in fire season, if a fire breaks out, whatever time of year, they might be called to fight that fire, and they will have fewer people available to do defensible space inspections and re-inspections. Another reason to just jump on top of this as soon as you possibly can. And then again, number 4 is ordering a wildfire disclosure report from Fortress Fire. If you need one, if you want one in your transaction, if you need one, if your broker, legal counsel says, yep, everything's good, here's the deal, you want to order it, feel free. You can order it right on mynhd.com. Just click on the Order Fortress Fire button on that landing page. And that's it. We appreciate your time. Oh, Stephen Strickland, he's our VP of Sales. And he was on a last presentation that I did. So that's why his name is there. But you can contact me, or you can contact Lina King, who is your fabulous rep. She has all the information for you too. We thank you so much for your time today. We hope this is helpful.
Yeah, Dee Dee and Lina, thank you so much for coming on, because this is such as our industry keeps changing and evolving, and wildfires, as anyone who's lived in California for the better part of their life, I've lived in California pretty much my whole life, and wildfires and have always been a part of being on the West Coast and with Santa Ana winds and all the stuff.
That's
But
right.
the industry is changed so much with insurance now, and this new mapping and all these changes that are occurring. You're so correct with that prudent just being ahead of this thing, because this will really make your life miserable if you're not ahead of it. And I think too,
Yes.
not just for sellers, for buyers, because
Mhm.
it was interesting 'cause just this week, it's good timing. I sent out a broker tip that we try to send out every week, and one was to review the Cal Fire mapping and to understand if these are areas you're working in or you have clients looking in these neighborhoods, these cities or communities. You need to know this stuff. You can't go in and then get into escrow with even a buyer, and all of a sudden you don't. They're like, oh, well, we didn't know this was a fire zone. You need to know that.
Right.
That's a
Yes, sir.
huge component. And with the insurance companies, it's getting harder and harder to get companies to write policies. It really has changed the industry dramatically. And if
Mhm.
you're not, fully armed and fully equipped to do this, it's gonna be really frustrating.
You're so right, Bill. And the insurance industry is changing constantly. New fire maps are coming out for SRA zones in next month, or in April, I should say April 1st. Those come out. We're working on some marketing for that. So Lina can come back and update you on that. But I am kind of the fire insurance queen at my NHD. I'm in it every day. So I'm talking with CAL FIRE and the DOI and our insurance brokers that we work with and the LA Fire Department, and you name it, I'm kind of in the thick of it every day. So if you ever have questions about it, reach out to me or Lina, and we will get you the accurate information that you need.
Yes, we
That's
will. And I also
fantastic.
posted it. Yes, it's also posted on your Facebook page. So visit your
Perfect.
Facebook
And
page.
yeah, and also Lina and Dee Dee, I will be putting this stuff out on I always put out a replay after these webinars, and a lot of our
Wonderful.
agents will watch the replay. So I'll make sure that they have the
Mhm.
information as well. And then I'll also put you guys onto our website as one of our preferred vendors, so the agents
Great.
have access to all of your information.
Fabulous.
Amazing.
Tons
Thank
of
you.
education. I love doing this. I do it all day long if I could.
Mhm.
I have a real estate family. I spent my first 10 years in escrow, where I saw a lot of transactions go wrong, and then spent the next 20 years in disclosures. And I have a real estate license and sold real estate a few years ago as well. So well versed. And Lina is very well versed as well. She's been doing this for, she doesn't look like it. She's been doing it for a long time. And
I've been with the company 9 years, but I also did title insurance for 10 years. So I've been in business for a long time. And I'm your boots on the ground, ready to help you put your transactions together. So I will walk you through it. Just reach out to me.
Yeah, we're here for
Well,
you.
thank you so much, ladies. We really do appreciate you guys coming on our webinar. And agents, get
having
out
us.
there and make it a great week and a productive week. And we will see you guys all next Wednesday on the webinar. Hope you guys have a great Valentine's Day. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye now.